Hello, 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 and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trinity campers, to Magic Week here at Trinity Lutheran Church. My name is Elton Litzner, and I'm going to be your professor of the magical arts. Now, I want to preface this by saying that there's going to be nothing to do with black magic, sorcery, or anything occult. This is purely theatrical magic. It's all about having fun. This is the art of illusion and the art of astonishment. I've been performing magic professionally for close to 20 years. It has taken me all over the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Heartland to no man's land. I've been everywhere. And today, I'm going to share my magic with you. I'm going to get started pretty much right away, but before I do, I want to point out that magic is one of the art forms that truly does appeal to everyone. Little children love it. Grown-ups, adults love it. Elderly people love it. It crosses all age boundaries. It crosses all cultures. It's been around for thousands of years. And it really is just an amazing experience to watch a magician perform in front of you. Unlike so many other forms of entertainment which come to us these days entirely on a screen, whether it's a YouTube video, something on TikTok, TV, movies, everything is on a screen these days. Magic breaks through what in theater is called the fourth wall. Now, the fourth wall was a pretty cool idea back in Shakespeare's time. It basically meant that the actors would perform on stage as if the audience wasn't even there, as if there was an invisible wall between them. But these days, with everything on a screen, we've got the fourth wall coming out of our ears. And so one of the things that's really cool about magic is it crashes right through that fourth wall and allows you to have a real experience with a spectator, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's for a group of 3, 5, 10, 15 people. Now, I love my spotlight, I love my stage, and I love doing big stage shows. But I also really do love the intimacy that happens when you perform what we call close-up magic. Magic that happens up close, in your face, and personal. And the tricks that we're going to learn today are close-up magic tricks. There are things that you can do pretty much in any condition. You can do it on the fly, on the spot, anywhere you are to amaze your family, your friends, strangers, people you might meet in a restaurant, anywhere. So let's get started. I'm going to start things off today with this. That's right, it's a Sharpie. You got to be careful with these things, they're Sharpie. Now, typically I would ask to borrow someone's hand for this. And I would hold their hand and I would draw an X. But since I'm working by myself in front of this camera, I'm going to do it right here. X marks the spot. This is where I want you guys to look. It's where all the action is going to take place. Now remember, X marks the spot. I'm going to wave that Sharpie as if it were a magic wand. Now watch what happens. On the count of 3, this Sharpie is going to pass right through the center of my hand. You'll see it happen. 1, 2, 3. Wait for it. Nothing up the sleeves. Snap of the fingers and it comes right back. Now I know I moved out of screen for this, so I'm going to show you one more time what's happening here. I drew an X on a spectator's hand. X marks the spot. I told him I want you to watch right there. That marker is going to pass right through the center of the hand. You'll see it happen. 1, 2, 3. Did you catch it that time? Now you had a sense of where to look. But of course, all I did is put it right there behind my ear. It's a very easy trick to do, but it really does amaze people of all ages. Let me show you what it looks like from the other side. Because you notice that when I did this, I had my body sort of angled, and this ear was facing away from you, so you couldn't see what happens. But this is what it looks like from the backstage view. So I'm holding their hand with the X on it. The X is there for misdirection. What do I mean by that? It means I'm telling them where I want them to look. I don't want them to look here, I want them to look here. So the X is basically just there as a focal point. I tell them this is where the action's going to happen. I establish once, twice, 3 times, and that snap, that little nap at the end, just in case their eyes start to jump up here, that snap brings their eyes right back to over there. And it's as simple as that. You don't have to be fast. You have to be smooth. That's what you have to do. You can practice this in front of a mirror. You don't want to poke yourself in the eye or jab yourself in the head. Doesn't have to be fast, just smooth. 1, you bring that marker up to the head, but not quite to the ear. 2, you're establishing the same rhythm. And 3, and it slips right behind and then snap. Their eyes go back. That is a really easy way to vanish a marker, a Sharpie, a pen, a pencil, a drinking straw, whatever you happen to have to work with. I've done all of them. A crayon, which is probably how we're going to learn it in class, because we have another illusion that's going to happen with crayons. But yeah, it's a great little routine. You can pull it out anytime, anywhere, under any conditions. You just want to make sure that when you're doing it, if you have a group of people around, that you angle your body so that you're facing away from them. You may have to move people around. That's okay. Be like, if you move here, you'll see it better, right? And then 1, 2, and 3. Simple as that. That is the first bit of magic that we're going to learn at Magic Camp. But there's more. Oh yes, there is more. The next piece of magic that we're going to learn is a favorite of mine. It involves this napkin. To the best of my ability, I'm going to try to tear the napkin in half. Sometimes I've found napkins have a certain way they like to tear. And I'm going to try to get it pretty close to right down the middle. And we'll do it one more time. The napkin looks like it's being torn. It even sounds like it's being torn. Take the pieces and sort of ball them up like so. Good. Now, does anyone know any magic words? Abracadabra, hocus pocus, presto changeo, bippity boppity boo, or my personal favorite, simsalabim. Whatever words you choose. When you open up the napkin, you can see that it's never been torn, fully intact, and you can pass it out to have them take a look at it. So how did this little miracle happen? I'll show you. The first thing that you need to know is I used more than 1 napkin. I have my first napkin, which is solid, not torn at all, balled up in a little ball and kept in what magicians call finger palm. This is finger palm. The napkin is being held by the pinky and the ring finger on my right hand. If you're left-handed, you can do it on your left hand. This leaves your thumb, your index finger, and your middle finger free to move around pretty freely, and nobody is expecting that you're going to hold more than one thing at a time in your hand. So when you're holding the napkin, this hand looks exactly the same as this hand. I showed both sides. I'm just bringing the one hand around like so. And it's true. For some reason, napkins tear one way better than the other. This one is going to go pretty right down the middle this time. If for some reason you start having it run off to the side, just turn the napkin around. I'm just tearing them into strips. I like to do it 3 times because it really looks visual and they can hear the sound of it being torn. Now remember, you have your second napkin, the full napkin, in finger palm, being held here. I'm balling this one up, and as I do, you end up in this position with the torn one on top and the second one, the whole one, in finger palm. Under the cover of balling this up, I'm simply switching them so that I end up with the whole napkin on top, and the torn one is now in finger palm. And then at that point, when it's all, and it's being held by the index finger, the thumb, and the ring finger, kind of makes like a little triangle. Those three fingers are holding it. This is the magic moment. The magic never happens when you're doing the dirty work. It never happens when you're doing the sleight. It always happens after. So now that we're done with the work, now we do the magic pass. We say the magic words. If you're doing it for kids, they love to say the magic words. You can ask them if they know any. They'll inevitably say abracadabra. You can make some jokes about that. Have a banana? Hannah Montana? Oh, abracadabra. Okay, abracadabra. That's the word that works. And then you open it up. And show them that the napkin has never actually been torn. And then legit, you can pass it out for inspection. They'll take it. They'll pass it around. You can tell them to pass it around if they don't. And as they're looking at that napkin, you take the one you have in finger palm and casually ditch it in your pocket or throw it under the table or whatever it is. But that is the torn and restored napkin. Again, another trick that can be done in any condition. A little anecdote about that one. My daughter Amelia was in preschool. I was at a Valentine's party for her preschool class with Miss Stockmeyer. And once the word gets out that you do magic, people are going to ask to see it, especially kids. Do magic, magic man. And Miss Stockmeyer wasn't wanting to put me on the spot, so she was going, well, I don't know if he has anything with him today. He didn't come prepared for that. I said, no, it's cool. I can show him something. And I walked up to the snack table and I grabbed 2 napkins and I did the torn and restored napkin, and they were astounded. They absolutely loved it. So again, it's one of those things you can pull out almost in any situation. And it's a great, really strong piece of magic. Now, speaking of magic with napkins, and I'm going to have to sort of readjust for this, but this is pretty cool. I want to show you. Move the camera a little bit too, because I really want you to be able to see this table. Okay. As we rearrange the furniture here, let me make sure that this is in frame. Putting my glasses on. No, I need to be down a little bit. I'm going to try to tilt the camera down for you guys. I apologize that I do not have editing sophistication. Maybe one day. Okay, this should work. This should work good. Okay. Did you know that every table has a soft spot? Sort of a sweet spot on the table where things can go through. They can penetrate through. I'll show you what I mean. And to show you, I'm going to use this coin. Now, this happens to be an American $50, but you could do this with any coin, a quarter, a nickel, a dime, a penny, whatever you happen to have. In just a moment, I'm going to make this coin pass right through the center of the table. And to do that, I'm going to use this salt shaker. I'm going to slam the salt shaker down on top of the coin so hard, like a hammer, that it's going to go right through the middle. Now, this is a glass salt shaker. So, safety first. I don't want to cut my hand, and I don't want shards of glass flying at you guys. So we're going to try to contain it with the salt shaker. Now remember, the salt shaker is going to slam down on that coin. It's going to slam down in there like a hammer. I want you to watch the coin. Watch. Are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. Well, the coin is still there, but the salt shaker has completely vanished. In fact, not only has it vanished, it has passed right through the center of the table. And that is the vanishing salt shaker. How does this work? I'm going to show you in just a moment. Once again, I'm going to rearrange the furniture. We'll give you the side angle this time for the backstage view. Just like the pen vanish, this relies on misdirection. Can you guess what our misdirection is? The coin. The coin is really not important to the trick at all, but it sets up the idea that this is going to pass through the center of the table. This becomes the focal point. This is what they're watching, just like the X on the hand. The salt shaker is glass. You can do it with a plastic one, but I like using the glass one because it gives me the motivation as to why I'm covering it, so that it doesn't shatter, so glass doesn't fly everywhere, so I don't get cut, so they don't get hurt. But what happens when you cover that salt shaker and remove the salt shaker, the napkin retains the same shape. So here's what happens. It's very much like the marker vanish, right? I'm taking it, I'm establishing what's going to happen. I'm going to hit it like a hammer. This is the important part. When you push the coin forward, their eyes are going to go to the coin. As their eyes are going to the coin, you bring the salt shaker to the edge of the table and let it drop. The misdirection is that they're watching the coin move forward as you're bringing this back and letting it drop. Hopefully not off your knees like I did that time. This is a kind of a small table. Let me get closer. Coin moves forward, salt shaker moves back. Coin moves forward, salt shaker goes back. Now, you don't want to do it too many times, right? So you're establishing once what you're going to do. Twice, I'm going to hit it with a hammer. Watch the coin. Salt shaker's gone now. They're watching up here. As I'm moving forward with this, I'm picking up the salt shaker off the table, and I'm using the sound of it hitting to reinforce that it's still here. I go under the table. 1, 2, and 3. And I like to do it real slow to build the sort of suspense of it and let it to process that they saw there was a solid salt shaker and now it just got smashed down. The coin is still there. But the salt shaker is gone, and it passed right through the center of the table. That is a technique in magic that is called lapping. When you sweep something off the table and just catch it in your lap. And you might need to practice that a few times. It's actually been a little bit since I've done it, but that's what it is. The important part is to establish. This is where it's going to happen. And then as the coin moves forward, salt shaker comes back. 1, 2, 3. The vanishing salt shaker. In situations where I've done close-up table magic, and it's happened a lot. I used to work restaurants a lot doing tableside magic. And normally what I would do is I'd walk up to the table and I would do maybe 1 or 2 tricks up next to them, and then I'd say, hey, do you mind if I sit down for a moment? And most people would graciously let me sit down. And that's the time when I would pull out the salt shaker routine. And boom. It really is a real fooler, and it's a classic of magic, and I hope you guys enjoy it. The next thing that I want to get into is some actual sleight of hand. This isn't just misdirection, this is an actual sleight of hand technique. We are going to learn something that in magic is called the French drop, or le tourniquet. Le tourniquet. tourniquet. We're going to start off with a quarter. Watch. And that coin comes out from the sleeve, or it can be reproduced behind the ear, or from thin air, whatever. So how does this work? This is a beautiful bit of coin magic. It is one of the utility moves in coin magic. There's 4 of them. There's the classic palm, the thumb vanish, the finger vanish, and the French drop, or le tourniquet. Here's what's happening. The quarter is being held by the thumb on the bottom, the index finger, and the middle finger, and turned palm up. That's important. This is what it looks like from the side. It's facing with your palm up. It forms a triangle with the thumb on the top, middle finger, index finger. You have a lot of space behind here, and this is what happens. Your other hand is coming in. The thumb is going to go behind the coin. Behind the coin. And the front fingers form a bit of a screen over top of it. And all you do is when the thumb comes behind, you simply drop the coin and it automatically falls into finger palm. I'll show you again. Thumb on top, index finger, middle finger, palm up. The thumb comes behind. Drop the coin, you're automatically in finger palm. Beautiful, right? Now, here's where a little bit of theater comes into it. It's coming in front, forming the screen. It looks like you've grabbed it with this hand. And you always should try to practice the real motion. If I was really grabbing this coin with this hand, this is about what it would look like. Right? It would go, I'd go like this. I did it for real that time. For real that time. That was the sleight. But you're always trying to mimic the real motion with whenever you do a sleight. And of course that time, it's not there. Now this is where you want your hands to work together. If you're working at a table, and I will back up to show you that, bring my little table back. If you're working at a table, and I'm going to take the tablecloth off just so you can see a little better. Let's say I'm at a table and I'm doing a coin vanish. I'm going to take the coin, holding it in the French drop position. I take the coin, this hand comes up, and I'm watching this hand. They will always watch what you're watching. Their eyes go where your eyes go. This is where all the attention goes. This hand just drops to the table in what is called slidini resting pose. And it looks supernatural. Not supernatural, but it looks very natural, right? That you're taking the coin, give it a little blow, a little squeeze, slowly open the fingers, give it a little flick. I'm a finger flicker. Again, I like to flick with my middle finger and my thumb. I do it palm up, I do it palm down. It's just a way to illustrate that the coin is gone, and I don't have to say a word. I don't have to be like, look, it disappeared. You can see it's not there. Their eyes look where you look. Their focus will be where your focus is. You don't want to just open your hand. Oh, look, it disappeared. There's no mystery in that. You want to build the suspense, build the mystery as long as you can, right? So your hands work together. They work in concert with each other. This one comes up, this one goes down. This one's going down to the table in the slidini resting pose. The 3 fingers are just comfortably on the table. You still got the coin in finger palm. If you don't have a table, it's the same exact principle. Um, and I'm going to show you a little tip on this. When I do the French drop, I like to keep my hands in this sort of V-like position, like chomp, 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 sort of the Vulcan thing. I like that because look how good this looks. You retain the vision of that coin until the very moment it goes away. Look at that. You could do it like a screen, and that's fine. But if you come in like this, you're seeing it right up until the last moment of vision, right? And then the hand drops. If you don't have a table to rest on in the Slidini resting pose, just let the hand go dead. Their focus is going to go where yours does. Now, to bring the coin back, a couple ways you can do it. I like to, now that it's in the why can I think of the name of it now? It's in finger palm. I like to reach up to my sleeve, grab a little piece of the cloth, and my hand, it's just sort of resting behind, and I work that coin up. I don't want to pull it out like boom, real super fast. I want it to be slow. I pull, and look. You can even hear it pass through, right? That's one way I like to reproduce it. Of course, you can do the same thing when it's in finger palm. You use your French drop, you vanish the coin, give a little blow, it vanishes, and then you bring your hand up with it in finger palm, reach behind their ear, and produce it from behind their ear. And that is the French drop. Now I'm going to show you again, this time with a larger coin. This is with my $50, just so you can see. Still works exactly the same way. And you can bring it from the sleeve, or you could do it from behind the ear, or even from thin air if you'd like. But you're not limited to doing just coins. You could do it with a ball. Same exact position, right? Thumb on top, index finger, middle finger, comes behind. The only difference with a ball is a round object. So you'll notice I'm holding my hand a little more curved, a little more open, as if I still have the ball there. But you can easily vanish a ball and reproduce it just as well as you can a coin. You can do this with any small object. And that is the beauty of Le Tourniquet, the French drop. I'm not sure how long this video is going. About 28 minutes, okay. That leaves me just enough time to show you one final thing that I wanted to show you. And that is going to be a little bit of clairvoyance, mind reading with crayons. I have 3 crayons. I have a red, a yellow, and a green. In performance, I would turn my back. I would ask a spectator to pick one of the 3 crayons, take it, and then place it into my free hand. And let's say it's this one. I turn back around. And I look at the spectator. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out what crayon you picked. It's one of the warmer colors. So that rules out the green or blue if there was blue. I'm going to try to look right in your eyes. Imagine, almost as if there was a small TV screen in between us, and try to see the word of your color flashing on that screen, or maybe even just the color flashing on that screen. And when you start to see it, hopefully I'll start to see it, and yellow. Yes? And sure enough, it was the yellow crayon that they picked. How does this work? Super easy. Super easy. And this one's great. Crayons are usually pretty available. Like if you go to a restaurant, you can normally find them because they have them for children to color with on their placemats. But yeah, it's another good impromptu trick. I'm a big fan. I've done this a lot at the Big Boy. That's one of the places that Amelia and I like to hang out. She calls it the Big Boy with the pancakes on his head. So here's how it works. 3 colors. Doesn't really matter what they are, but I do tend to like to use primary colors for this. I turn my back. They have legitimately a freedom of choice to take any one of the 3 crayons they like. Whatever one they pick is going to go into my empty hand. And then, as I'm turning around, I am using my thumbnail to scratch that crayon. And I'm doing it enough. I'm going to try to do a big hunk here to get it in camera. You don't have to do it that big in real life, but I'm trying to get it to show up. I'm doing it enough under the cover of movement because a bigger motion hides a smaller motion. So I'm turning, scratching the coin, and then I pull my hand out in front as if I'm doing something mystical, but legitimately I'm looking to see what color is under my thumbnail. And if I'm wearing glasses, as I sometimes do, sometimes that means I have to take them off. I have a practical reason for that. I'm nearsighted, so my glasses help me see far. But close up, I have a hard time seeing with the glasses on, so sometimes I have to whip them off. But I sort of like that because I think it looks very theatrical. It looks like I'm trying to remove a barrier between me and my spectator. And then I'm looking, I glance down to glimpse what color is under my thumbnail. And once I have it, this hand can go away. It doesn't have to stay there. I like to take my time with this because in theory, reading a mind is a hard thing to do, right? So I look at them right in the eye. And then I try to act as if I'm trying to slowly pull it out of them. Almost as if, and I give the analogy about the flashing color on the movie screen, or maybe the word, or sometimes like a flashlight in the dark. I've used different things. But to try to act as if I'm really struggling to get what it is, you don't want to just be like, red, because there's no mystery if you just say it right off the bat. You want to give some suspense and build up the mystery. That's where the magic happens. Again, magical moment never happens when you're doing the thing. It always happens after. That's the moment of magic. And you can do this more than once. If you let's say you do it with a group of kids and they do it again. Well, you can use your other hand and get a nice clean thumbnail. And this time, let's say they picked green, and you take a quick glimpse at it, and you're good to go. And that is how to read minds using color crayons. Well, there was a lot in this lesson, a lot in this lesson. The next one on Wednesday is going to be some magic with cards, and it gets a little more technical. We're going to learn one card trick that requires no sleight of hand whatsoever, and then we're going to have another card trick that does use some basic sleight of hand that I will teach you. So bring a deck of cards with you, ideally a bicycle deck, an aviator deck, a bee-back deck, are all very good decks of cards. If you have smaller hands, bring some bridge cards because they're a little smaller for smaller hands. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys, and I hope you guys have so much fun practicing your magic.